walked through fire and never broke. Carry the stories for all our sake. Hands like the earth, eyes like the sky. They hold the thread so the old ways don't die. Their voices are rivers, their silence is prayer. Every wrinkle a chapter, every breath is rare. We were born from there knowing their language, their song. If we let them go silent, we won't last long. They are the memory of what came before, so we can build a future worth living for. Who matter most. Living bridges, sacred ground. Don't let their voices be the last sound before they go, before they fade. Honor the sacrifices that they made. Keepers of the flame, don't let it die. Elders rising, reaching for the sky. Oh, oh, reaching for the sky. Grandmothers teaching the old ways to young grandfathers, singing in their mother tongue. Healers and leaders, the heart of the band. They stretched out their arms so we know where to stand. But isolation creeps in like the cold and poverty. Silence these stories untold. We owe them more than silence and shame. We owe them our presence, we owe them our flame. They are not burdens, they are not behind. They are the sharpest, most sacred kind. Hold them dear, hold them close. They're the ones who matter most. Living bridges, sacred ground. Don't let their voices be the last sound before they go, before they fade. Honor the sacrifices that they made. Keepers of the flame, don't let it die. Elders rising, reaching for the sky. Oh, 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 oh. Reaching for the sky. Oh, don't let the fire fade into the night. The stories and the spirits are our guiding light. We are the ones who carry what they gave. Honor the elders, honor the brave. Honor the brave. Oh, hold them dear, hold them close. They're the ones who matter most. Living bridges, sacred ground. Don't let their voices be the last sound before they go, before they fade. Honor the sacrifice that they made. Keepers of the flame, we won't let it die. Elders rising, we won't say goodbye. We won't say goodbye. We hear you, we see you, we'll keep you alive. Your stories, your language, your fire survives.
Live on the air, Trial Junkies United presents Justice After Dark with your host, Z.
Thank you, Doc. How is everybody? Our lovely mods, Irish, Luna Fairy, and Fowla are here, and we have Billy and Therapist Mustang, and Fourquois, and let's see, who am I missing? If I'm missing someone, Chris, there you are, darling. Good to see you. Welcome to everybody. I'm so happy you guys came tonight. We have a good story we need to share. If I forgot you, for shame on me, because we love you all and we love the lurkers. And
Did
like
you
I
get
said,
Billy?
I think I got Billy. Hello.
I don't know. Maybe you did. I'm sorry.
And therapist, we need to talk. I might have a case for us to discuss. Got to get your thoughts, sweetheart. See what you think. But okay, let's get started. And like I said earlier, come on in, lurkers. It's okay. We don't bite, not much.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Welcome to our trial junkies, our truth seekers, and our justice warriors. I'm Z, your storyteller in the wilderness of injustice, with my ride or die Doc riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness where the predators hunt and the system fails. You ready to go tonight, Doc?
I couldn't be more ready.
That's good, because tonight we have a story that just is not getting the attention that it needs, and yet it got more attention than most, so that's kind of sad. But we refuse to let silence be betrayal. Every Thursday we honor our Indigenous and Native brothers and sisters because their stories need to be told. No one is forgotten. And we're going to start about our story. Well, before I start, I'm going to tell you who this is. This is Ella Mae Begay. Begay. Okay, I'm already thirsty. That's not good, people. And it is water. Even though I did learn a trick the other day, if you put take the wrapper off of a tea bag, the string, put it in your cup and hang it, and then you can fill it with wine, just in case. That way nobody knows what you're drinking. But I am drinking water. Just wanted to give you the tip. Okay.
Just another type of beverage, that's all.
Well, yes. Hello, Moo. What do you do? Oh, I have the mirror up by my laptop, and Moo just saw herself. She's like, I look good. Goofball.
And Sky just jumped up and is sitting behind me on the chair.
Oh.
I think she's going to come and play.
Okay. Well, come on, children. Oh, I think Moo's headed toward the bed. Okay.
Okay.
So this is Ella Mae Begay. And before we talk about what was taken from her, I need you to know who she was. And she was Dene, born and raised on the Navajo Nation, and she was extraordinary, you guys. She lived in a small community in Sweetwater, Arizona, on the northern edge of the Navajo Nation, not far from the Four Corners Monument. She lived alone, a quiet life, a deliberate life, a life that was rooted so deeply in that land that leaving it was almost unimaginable to her. She was a homebody, not out of fear, out of belonging. She belonged to the land. She was exactly where she wanted to be. And a detail about her life has stayed with me since I learned it. Her son Gerald lived in Denver. She never once visited him there. Hey, Stormy. So glad you made it, darling. And everybody congratulate Stormy. She hit 500 subscribers.
Woohoo!
That's one thing about our community. We have to celebrate our successes together. So she never once visited Gerald up in Denver because the world outside her home on the Navajo Nation simply wasn't where she lived. She was what was of this place. She was of the place of the land. This was her world. She only had one exception, and that was the trip when they took her on a journey to St. Louis as a child when she was put in an Indian boarding school, one of those residential boarding schools. And I'm sure that's why she never wanted to leave the land again, because of the trauma. The only time Ella Mae Begay left her world was when the government took her from it as a child. And when she came home, she stayed home. She built her life there. It was full, purposeful, and beautiful. Ella Mae was a master rug weaver. Continuing, and this is a picture, it kind of shows you the community. So the houses aren't close. This is an important picture. It shows you how people kind of live out. There's not a lot of roads. It gives you an idea of what's in that area. Okay. But she was a master.
You hit the wrong button again. Hold on.
So you fix everything. Thank you, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
And so she continued a tradition that has been in her family for generations. She worked in a style called pictorial weaving, where other weavers will follow a pattern. Ella Mae told stories. Every design she put into those rugs, every color, every image came from inside her mind. There wasn't a template, there wasn't a sketch, no instruction book, just her hands, the wool, and a vision only she could see. And her rugs hung in some of the high-end galleries. And in Santa Fe, they sold to collectors around the world. People who had never met her or never would have her rugs hanging on their walls. Those stories are up there. In fact, one gallery owner named Redmond Smith said something that stayed with me. He said, looking at her weavings, seeing how lively and beautiful they were, you just knew there was no other way this woman couldn't be but an exceptional human being. And that's who Ella Mae was. And I even saw on Reddit, somebody posted, I have an Ella Mae Begay rug. So
Wow.
it's important.
Yeah.
Now, this is her niece, Saraphina Warren. She's described what it was like to watch her work. She said Ella Mae often worked late into the night when her imagination and her voice wove together in a quiet pattern. And the sun would come up and there would be something on the loom that didn't exist before. I want you to picture that where she was doing this work. Her home on the reservation, she had no running water. For most of her life, she had no electricity either. They had to truck water in. This was 2020 at the time. And even then, no water, no electricity. She wove by hand in the way her family had always woven. Finally, in 2020, the year before she disappeared, she actually got solar panels. For the first time in her life, electricity came to her home. I want you all to think about that. 2020, finally getting electricity in the United States. Kind of blows your mind. But to Ella, that was just how life was. And she only had it for a few months. Ella Mae disappeared on June 15th, 2021, and the loom went quiet. Now we're going to talk about that. This is her son, Gerald, and he said Ella Mae was 62 years old. She was cautious. She was a careful woman. Her son described her as someone who did not just up and leave in the middle of the night. He said she didn't drive after dark. Everybody knew. And he says, I want you to understand that where she lived, there are no road markers out there, no street lights, no house numbers, no street names. The paved road ends at a certain point, and from there, the roads are so rough, you can't travel more than 15 to 20 kilometers an hour just to reach Shiprock. The nearest town where the police were based took 45 minutes under good conditions.
How many people that you know of live in a situation in a area where you give them directions to their house by landmarks?
Yeah, you'd have to.
That's it. I mean, there is no turn left at Wright Street or so wow.
So on a good and to get to Shiprock, like they said, on a good day, it's 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where Ella Mae lived, and she was happy. This was her world. And on the night of June 15th, 2021, the isolation became something else entirely. Her daughter, Joanne, lived right next door at the time. And that night, Joanne was startled awake by sounds coming from her front door. Someone was trying to get in. She ran to hide. A moment later, she heard her door being kicked open. A man walked into her house. She stayed hidden, listening. She was terrified. She could hear him going through her cupboards, rummaging, taking things out to drink, and then he left. He walked out of her home and headed in the direction of Ella Mae's house. Joanne called 911. Dispatch answered. The police didn't come. Then she heard it. Her mother's truck started up in the middle of the night, a sound that made no sense. Ella Mae did not drive at night. She called her mother, texted her mom, no answer. She watched the headlights move. She watched the truck drive away into the dark. She called the police again. This time they finally came, but Ella Mae was already gone. Now, when officers arrived, they didn't immediately understand what they were looking at. They noticed the truck was gone. They noticed Ella Mae was gone. It wasn't until the next day, when the family was still trying to reach her, still piecing it together, that the alarm was fully raised and the search began. Hey, Ken, thanks for joining us, darling. Don't worry. So what happened next was, by the standards of missing persons cases on the Navajo Nation, is actually extraordinary. Ella Mae's case became the largest missing persons response in the history of the Shiprock District. And that's saying something. Mm-hmm. Journalist Connie Walker is a Pulitzer Prize winner, a Peabody winner, and an amazing reporter from Canada. She reported extensively on this case, and she believed that Ella Mae's case being so popular was due to two things. Who Ella Mae was. She was a cherished elder, beloved in her community. People knew her. And who her niece, Saraphina, was, because Saraphina Warren was about to make the entire country pay attention. Now, law enforcement named a person of interest finally, and his name was Preston Henry Tolth. And this little amoeba, he was 21 years old. And here's something important. The amoeba had only been in Sweetwater for a couple of weeks before Ella Mae disappeared. He was not from the community. He was a stranger. His only connection to Ella Mae was that his father was dating her sister. So think about that. Tolth was located in New Mexico. The case was formally transitioned to a foul play investigation. And Ella Mae still has never been found. And that is important to note. Ella Mae's family didn't just grieve quietly. They fought. Saraphina became the public face of the fight. On the 1-year anniversary of Ella Mae's disappearance, she walked from Arizona to Washington, D.C., hundreds of miles through heat, dust, and exhaustion. Along the way, supporters greeted her. Families of others that had missing and murdered loved ones found her on the road. They tied ribbons to her prayer staff, each ribbon a name on it. Each ribbon was a person the system had failed. Think about that. Now, when she arrived in D.C. and was invited to meet with the Interior Secretary, Deb Haaland, the first Native American cabinet member in the U.S. history, who had made addressing violence against Native women a priority of her tenure, but even that meeting left Saraphina feeling uncertain. She said afterwards she wasn't sure it had promised her anything. That's the quiet heartbreak underneath advocacy. People might promise you things, and you just don't know if it'll ever come to fruition. You finally get in the room, and the room is still not enough to have answers. So meanwhile, this case unfolded during the same summer. Gabby Petito went missing. And if you were paying attention then, you know exactly what I'm about to say. The Petito search involved 25 FBI agents, hundreds of investigators, multiple states, and around-the-clock media coverage of every development. Now, nobody says that she didn't deserve the attention. What we're pointing out is how wrong it is that not everybody gets that attention. Ella Mae's family said, and I want you to hear this, We don't have detectives. We don't get a special task force, the resources, or even the money for it. 2 women, 2 families in crisis, 2 completely different responses. And yet, Ella Mae got more attention in her community than most in that area. This isn't an accident, it's literally a pattern. And before we go further into the case, I want to pause and offer something. Tonight, of course, I wrote 2 original songs. The first one we already listened to is Keepers of the Flame, because some truths land differently when they're carried in music. And it's really about every elder who holds the knowledge, the language, and the history of their people, and for what we lose when the system fails to protect them, because it did. In April of 2023, nearly 2 years after Ella Mae disappeared, the little amoeba was formally charged. 2 counts: assault resulting in serious bodily injury and carjacking. Together, those charges carried a maximum sentence of up to 35 years in prison. And I want to pause here to say something about those charges. This was the first time in the Navajo Nation history that charges of that level had ever been brought without a body. Just the weight of the evidence said, and the courage of the prosecutors who were going to pursue it. And then there was the confession. In interviews with the FBI and the Navajo Nation, criminal investigators, Tolth admitted to leaving Ella Mae's home that night in her truck with her inside. He said he snapped. He hit her harder than he thought. He said she was bleeding. He said she was probably deceased when he left her on the side of the road somewhere in Sweetwater. He said he sold her truck for money and drugs. But here's where the story takes a turn that will make your stomach drop. And I do have questions about his explanation.
Yeah.
Because the investigators took him back out to Sweetwater to help them find her, to walk them to the spot where he said he had left her. They couldn't find her. And they documented in their own records they did not believe he was telling the truth about where she actually was. Hey, Katrina.
I don't know how he could have been.
Yeah. He knew, and
Yeah.
he chose not to say. But before we get to what happened to the confession, I have to tell you about the moment the community found its own answer. Before any charges, even before he was arrested, before any courtroom, people tracked the little amoeba down. They found him. They filmed him on Facebook Live, demanding he tell them where Ella Mae was. They tried to get him into an SUV so he could take them to the location himself. And the amoeba jumped a fence and ran away like the little amoeba he was. And that moment tells you everything. There was no arrest at that time. No justice was moving through any official channel. It was just a family and their neighbors on a dirt road holding a camera to the man they believed had taken their elder, because that was all they had at the time. Now, her son Gerald called the plea deal, because eventually they came up with a plea deal that would come later, a slap on the wrist. He called on authorities to locate his mother's remains. He said, she belongs in the community where she lives. If I could bring my mother home, I could at least have some closure. And I want you to think about that, because according to him, this is what he said happened. Well, one story was she was in her vehicle and he took her. But that doesn't, the math doesn't math over that one, because we know she doesn't drive at night. So why would she have been in her truck? We know he more than likely broke in like he did at Joanne's house.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did he just kill her in the house and then take her? He's trying to act like she left alive. I don't think so.
Like she got in the truck with him.
Yeah. And I don't think that's what happened.
Yeah.
See, I think he was, and that's why I think he did not take them to where he left her, because he knew that they would be able to tell that he had killed her. So in 2024, a federal judge, because there was that confession, Okay, but a federal judge ruled it inadmissible. And here's why. And this one just, ugh. It's the system failed Ella, but really, the cops, you did wrong. When the amoeba was first questioned, he invoked his right to remain silent. And that is a constitutional right. We all have it. Once someone invokes it, law enforcement is required by law to stop questioning, full stop. That's it. But they didn't. And it said 6 days later, oh, those are two of the tattoos that her son has got. The one on his jaw is the date his mother disappeared. And then the other one is an MMIW with his mother's initials. You know, he did that in honor of his mom. But so 6 days later, the FBI agents returned. And a second interview. Now, he's already said, you know, he's not going to talk. I want an attorney. And they come for a second interview. It's like, excuse me, that's wrong. And then they came for a third interview, all about the same crime. The agents also lied to Tolth about during the interrogation, fabricating evidence they claimed to have against him to pressure him into wavering his right to remain silent. Now, lying about evidence during interrogation is actually legal in the United States. And that's a whole separate conversation about whether it should be. But doing it after a suspect has already invoked his right to silence, yeah, they crossed the constitutional line. And so in August of 2025, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, in a 2-1 decision, upheld the suppression of that confession. The court said the investigators failed to honor the amoeba's right to silence scrupulously. The confession was out. Think about that. Prosecutors were left with a significantly weakened case. You know, and we had another case this last week, right? You know, with that stout chick, crazy woman in Colorado that's getting something due to a juror that shouldn't have been on the panel. When questions come in, cover your butt. Don't put a case in jeopardy from a bad decision. The police knew they shouldn't talk to this kid. He asked for an attorney. You get him an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
It was his right.
Chris asked the question, do we believe that he could have other victims? Oh, well.
It's hard to tell. I mean, yeah, like Tisha. You know, Chris, it's hard to tell. He was 21, so he was young, but he seemed to be under the influence of stuff. So yeah, you know, you never know. He could be. And he actually, like I said, he wasn't from that area, but his father was dating Ella Mae's sister. That's why he was in the area. Yeah. Irish, it is devastating for the family because here they thought they had a great case, right? Now, the truth has layers. And here's one more layer you need to understand. And I'm only bringing it up because there are people that are going to know about it. And I don't want anyone to say, ooh, she hid something. Now, in March of 2021, 2 months before Ella Mae disappeared. Hey, Hellcat. Saraphina Warren and 3 members of her family, her husband, her sister, Josephine Begay, and her husband, Orlando, her husband is Orlando Begay, and Josephine Begay, and Josephine is BK, and her husband is Nelton Alec Begay. Oh. The Begays and the Begays got together.
Wow.
Okay.
That'd be confusing.
That got a little confusing.
Huh.
But these 4 people were all indicted on federal kidnapping charges. Okay. Now, according to the court documents, hey, Paula, a man had stolen their vehicle. and they located him through Facebook, and they drove to his home in Arizona where they physically assaulted him. They handcuffed him, they transported him across state lines, and eventually released him. That's a federal crime.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not minimizing what they did. Their defense team then went to court arguing the government should hand over the victim's criminal case file because the victim, referred to only as John Doe, had previously been charged with carjacking before those charges were dismissed. The defense wanted to know why. Their theory, the government quietly dropped John Doe's charges in exchange for his testimony against them, a deal made in the dark. But the government said no deal was made. The charges were dropped because they lost key evidence. So John Doe testified under oath that he was promised nothing. The judge denied the motion on 2 grounds. First, John Doe's history in an unrelated case doesn't erase what the defendants did, and the defense couldn't explain how that file would actually change the kidnapping evidence. It makes sense. Second, the defense already had what they needed to cross-examine John Doe about bias, including the grand jury transcript. They couldn't show what the full file would add. The court's bottom line, and this is essentially what the ruling said, the defense went fishing without a hook. Now, we're not here to try that case. That's not my job. What I will say is this. Ella Mae's son, Gerald, was clear. He said his mother's disappearance and his cousin's kidnapping charge are not connected. Because you might think, well, they went after a carjacker and then his mother's truck and she disappears. But they weren't related. Okay. Hey, OnlyFan, been lurking. We like our lurkers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but we have to mention it because the charges are still there. That case has not been settled. But the context of the indictment didn't include was this: the family reported their stolen vehicle to the tribal police. The tribal police couldn't follow up. It was one of those jurisdictional issues because the guy was in Arizona. So they got no justice through the system meant to protect them. And so they decided to do it themselves. Now, remember, on the night Ella Mae disappeared, her daughter called 911. Dispatch answered and no one came. So in a community where the reservation spans more land than the state of Ireland, or the country of Ireland, it's staffed at a quarter of what's needed. They have like over 1 million acres or something like that. Or maybe it's miles. I don't know. It's big. But they only have about 5 officers for 7 different regions at one time. Think about that. That's a lot. Night, Billy. So, when your backup is 45 minutes away, people learn the system's not going to save them. And sometimes out of desperation, they act. And 2 things can be true at the same time. What the family did, hey, it was wrong. It was illegal. They deliberately found this guy on Facebook. They drove across state lines and kidnapped him. And the desperation that drove them there was born of a system that's chronically failed Native communities. Saraphina, after her court appearance and release, went straight back to advocating for her aunt, though, because that is what this family does. They don't stop. Kind of sounds like the wild, wild west out there. I'm just saying, because I have read some reports that there is a lot of justice that people settle themselves out on the reservation.
Well,
So-
it kind of is, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
So,
they're isolated horribly out there. So,
Exactly. I mean, they don't have, a lot of times the police cruisers don't have enough, what do I want to say? With their radios, they get in places where they can't even radio out.
yeah, they
phones.
don't have the coverage that they need. Yeah.
Right. And the cell phones
Mhm.
don't have a lot of coverage. So, it's a whole different, we don't understand it if we live in the city. But by January of 2026, the case had shifted because the amoeba's confession was now suppressed. The prosecutors were working with sparse direct evidence. A plea deal was negotiated. He would plead guilty to a single count of robbery. Think about that. Irish, you're right.
Single count of robbery. Who did he rob?
Well, by taking her truck.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
So just one single count of robbery, saying nothing about taking her or leaving her. He would be sentenced to time served, approximately 3 years in custody, because they had him since April 2023. He had been arrested and in jail. So he could have walked out of a Phoenix courtroom today a free man. No murder charge, no additional prison time, no obligation to tell Ella Mae's family where she is. The man who said he knew where he left her, who knew she was bleeding, who knew she was probably deceased, who could not believe it when he pointed to that spot on the road. He could have walked away without ever telling them. Ella Mae, whose body has never been found, whose family cannot bury her, whose son said she belongs in the community where she was born. This is what her family was facing when they walked into that Phoenix courtroom today at 10 a.m. And after the judge listened to Gerald, his sister, Saraphina, Joanne, something rare happened. A federal judge in Phoenix rejected the plea deal. Hallelujah. Judges rarely do that, but this judge did. After Ella Mae's son gave anguished testimony, they told the court that Preston Henry Tolth, the amoeba, should not walk free without revealing Ella Mae's whereabouts, without giving this family the chance to bring her home. And the judge heard him. Preston Henry Tolth will now face trial on the original charges: carjacking and assault resulting in serious bodily injury. Of course, because it happened this morning, we don't have a trial date. But you know what, trial junkies? Tonight, this family walked out of that courthouse knowing the fight is not over, knowing that that amoeba will have to face a jury, and knowing that for once, the system didn't take the easy way out. Nearly 5 years after Ella Mae Begay vanished from her home in Sweetwater, Arizona, the case is finally going to move forward. And
vanished is the right word. I mean, because if he supposedly dumped her by the side of the road and she was bleeding, where's the blood?
Yeah. Well, and where's her body?
Yeah.
Someone should have found it. Where did he put her? And I will tell you, I did talk to our bestie advocate in the planet, as far as we're concerned, Alyssa Yellowbird Chase. She actually was down there for some of the search.
Huh.
And they did not locate her. So, and they have done other searches, and I don't think it's... And that's something I want to say to all of the Native communities, because now that spring and summer are coming, people will be out and about in some of these more unpopulated areas, maybe vacationing, traveling, hiking, searching for food, whatever. Be aware of your surroundings. We have so many missing people. Please be aware of your surroundings. If you see something and you have your cell phone, take pictures, don't disturb things, contact the authorities immediately. Maybe these people can be found. Let's bring them home.
Did they ever determine a motive for what he did, or for what they think he did?
Well, he broke into Joanne's place first.
Right.
And I think he was looking for money, because he said he eventually sold, because they never got the truck back either. He said he sold it for drugs, So I think he was just looking for things to steal.
So the truck is in the wind too.
Yes, the truck has never been found. And she was so proud of that truck. So it's a situation where I think he was just living a lifestyle that, he was looking for drugs and he happened upon two women, but he knew them. It wasn't like he was a stranger because his father was dating her sister.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he knew, hey, they're alone, or it wasn't like he actually searched for Joanne because she hid, but he was looking around the place. He was drinking stuff out of the refrigerator. So he was looking for things to either hawk or steal. He was going to steal money or, if she had any items that he could sell. And then he left there and went over because she lived right next door to her mother. So, yeah, that I think that was his motive. I don't know if he was high that night. We have no way of knowing.
Okay.
That was his motive, is looking for things to steal, and that's why he took her truck. But he told a couple of stories about that, and I think maybe she could have been awake because she used to work at night weaving. So who knows? He could have just broke in and then harmed her and killed her, and then he just took the truck and took her. So let's go ahead and look at some missing people tonight, because we want you to stay alert, put the cell phone down, remember the faces. Some people leave voluntarily and then they get into danger and they can't safely return. Others never have a choice because we know human trafficking is real. And missing persons cases happen everywhere. And victims often go unnoticed. That person you pass could be someone's missing family member. So trust your instincts. If you recognize anyone from today's cases or see something that doesn't sit right when you're out and about, don't assume someone else is going to call. Make that call to 911. If you're absolutely terrified of doing that, we have an email, tips4 trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com. We can pass along information because we want to give everybody a chance to be found. The smallest detail. If you want to add a missing person to our list for a show, please send us an email. You have the power to save a life, so use it. Katrina, you're right. He either really needed to get high because he was coming down, or
he was high and needed to stay high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because addiction, yeah. But when you end up killing someone because of your addiction, then we got an issue. We don't blame people for addiction. We know that it's a disease, but you also have consequences if you do something that vile. So let's go ahead and look at some missing people. And I'm going to tell you guys, we have quite a few from Montana, and I've come across quite a few young people, and I'm concerned. This is Antonio Sanchez. She's 14. She went missing April 2nd of this year from the Northern Cheyenne Reservation in Montana. She has brown hair, brown eyes. She's 5'3". She weighs 100 pounds. The investigator is the North Cheyenne investigator at 406-477-6288, or contact their clearinghouse at 406-444-2800. We don't have a lot of information on some of these. The next one is Alicia,
Little Coyote.
I love that name, Little Coyote. That is so cute. She's only 14. She's been missing since April 6th of this year from Great Falls, Montana. She's got brown hair, brown eyes. She's 5'4", weighs 168 pounds. Contact the Great Falls Police Department at 406-455-8565 or the clearinghouse at 406-444-2800. And those are two of our Montana girls. Next, we're going to look at an older case. This is Orlando King. He's 42. He goes by the nickname Shorty. He's been missing since December 25th of 2022 from Torrin, New Mexico. He left the Torrin store at 9 a.m. He's never been heard from again. He's with the Navajo Nation. He's 6'1", 170 pounds, has black hair. His head was shaved at the time of his disappearance. He has brown eyes. He had a black jacket, black Levi's or the Dickies, those pants, and a brown lugs boots, the Lugz boots. I've never heard of them. He has a tattoo with the name Nehemiah on, and it didn't specify where that was located. He does suffer from unspecified mental health issues and was taking a prescription medication for them at the time of his disappearance. So if anybody knows anything, contact the Navajo Nation Police Department at Crown Point at 505-786-2050. The agency number is 03-23-000-477. He has a NamUs number, M as in Michael, P as in Paul, 116312. It would be nice if they could bring him home. Now we have Rachel Ramirez. She's 17. She goes by Shug. Pammy would like that. She's been missing since March 28th of 2026 from Red Rock, Oklahoma. She was missing from her home around 1 a.m. She has brown hair and her eye color is also brown. She's 5'5" and 140 pounds. She is with the Oto Missouri, I guess is how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Tribal affiliation. She was wearing black Nike hoodie and a gray Nike sweats. The pictures on the flyer are the most recent. Contact the Oto Missouri Police Department at 580-723-4540 or MMIP Central Oklahoma Chapter 405-481-4089. The case number for Rachel is 2026-2036. Now, they did put this on, so I don't know if they think somebody is hiding her, but they said under Oklahoma law, it is illegal for a person to knowingly or willfully cause, aid, abet, or encourage a minor to be, remain, or become a runaway child. It's sad that they're classifying her as a runaway because we know that classification usually does not get people found. I'm hoping that
gets it ignored.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting that they think someone, to me, that makes it sound more like she was lured out. I don't know why I have trouble with that. Yes. That word in my.
I know.
It just
your mouth is all dry.
Well, no, as I start to say the word, it just sounds funny in my head. Like I'm saying it wrong before I even start. So I just start, ugh. Okay. You got one more. What can I say? And this one is concerning, you guys. This is Skyla Nolan. She's 17, missing since April 2nd. She was last seen around 3:30 p.m. Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, near 700 Magnus Avenue, North End. And she's 5'3", 170 pounds, brown eyes, brown hair. And she was last seen wearing a red and black zip-up hoodie like the one she's wearing. Authorities are concerned for her well-being because there is an adult involved. Time is critical. The smallest detail can bring her home. They believe she's in the company of a 49-year-old man, and we put his picture up there. So let's hope we can find somebody. Winnipeg, contact Winnipeg Missing Persons Unit at 204-986-6250. The case number is C as in cat 26-75752. Oh, that's just terrible. But so to kind of wind up tonight, those are two of the rugs that Ella Mae made. Bless our home and home sweet home. We say her name. Ella Mae Begay, not as a case number, not as a statistic, not as a symbol of a crisis, though her case has helped shine a light on one, but as a person. She was a mother, a grandmother, a sister, a woman who never needed to leave home to have a full life. She was an elder in the community, a rug weaver, well known, a woman whose hands made beautiful things. whose imagination was so vivid she could close her eyes and finish a rug before she even touched the loom. A woman who finally got electricity in her home. Think about that. She was 62.
Let all your kids that are complaining about having a cell phone taken away from for a bit. You know,
Yeah.
there are people living without running water and without
Electricity.
electricity, and
Yeah.
they aren't living that way because they want to be off the grid.
Yeah. And also the next time your kid or you complain, because I hate it when the internet goes down. That's how privileged we are, that we can complain when our high-speed internet's not working. Chris, that's a good that's true. There are mine shafts near there.
Yeah.
And they're searching. But to think that she finally got electricity and just had it for a few months. Our last song tonight that we're going to play is called Ella Mae. And it's for her. But if you have any information about Ella Mae Begay's whereabouts or the location of her remains, please contact the Phoenix FBI office at 623-466-1999. You can submit tips at tips.fbi.gov. There's a $5,000 reward for the information leading to answers in this case. If you've got somebody in the same jail as the amoeba, let them know. Get this guy to talk. You could get $5,000 to put on their commissary.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, $5,000 would buy you a lot of commissary. So Ella Mae's description: she's 62 years old, a Dene woman, brown hair, brown eyes. She wears glasses. She's 5 feet tall and 125 pounds. She was a tiny little thing. Missing from Sweetwater, Arizona on the Navajo Nation since June 15th of 2021. Her silver 2005 Ford F-150 has never been recovered. Someone knows something. Someone always knows something. Remember, stay positive that they're going to find her. Someone had put that on the Facebook page, and I thought that was a beautiful drawing of her.
Mm-hmm.
But every killer depends on your silence. Don't give it to them. And remember, it wasn't a mannequin. It never is. Somebody knows something. I can't believe this little amoeba has kept his mouth shut. So please.
Yeah, he was in prison. He was in jail for 3 years.
Yep.
So why? Yeah, somebody he had to talk to somebody.
Yeah, that's why I said if you have any relatives that are in jail with this guy,
yep,
tell them to $5,000 reward if you can find out where she is. So someone always knows something.
$5,000 buys you a lot of honey buns.
Yep. Yes. Doc is amazed that they get honey buns.
Yeah.
But we told a story that matters tonight about Ella Mae Begay, and she deserves to be remembered and searched for, and so do all of our Native brothers and sisters and First Nations. So let's get them searched for. Let's get them brought home. Everyone matters. We have to find our humanity for each other. Our motto is always going to be silence is betrayal. If you appreciate what we do, you can buy us a coffee or a Venmo. But if you can't, that's fine. Just supporting us, really watching, sharing, subscribing, commenting really helps. Hitting the like button. It helps reach more people. Please share. Let's get this out there so that we can get more people seeing these
people
cases.
Found. Yeah. It's just, and just so everybody knows, the YouTube algorithm, there is a lot more weight put to a video, or one of the videos, if it is shared. The algorithm will take a look at that, and it'll go, other people are interested in this. And if it funnels back to YouTube, then YouTube will reward that video with more, what they call more impressions, sending out ads, let's say letting other people see the thumbnail. Well, maybe they'll see it, view the video, and be able to save a life.
Yeah.
So.
And that matters, you guys.
Yep.
And just I went through our spreadsheet that I keep, because after the show I always put in everybody. Hey, SD Surf Girl. I put in the people that we cover each night for missing. Since we've started doing this from the first show, we have 366 total missing people that we've covered. And that's not including the 5 tonight. So I need to add those. We have found, well, we haven't, but 180 have been found. 15 have been found deceased. And we've had about 9 different ones that we've done duplicate stories on because they were important. So that kind of gives you numbers to kind of think about when we're doing this. So join us, Thursday nights, we always do our MMIP stories, but join us on Sundays for cold cases, crimes against children, other stories that need voices. We're supposed to have guests on Sunday. I'm not telling you who yet because I want to make sure everything works out, but we should be having a couple of really cool guests. So I hope you come back and join us on Sunday. And until next time, you guys, stay informed, stay compassionate, keep seeking truth, and keep demanding justice, and never stop speaking up. Murdoch spent it on beef sticks. Okay, Fowl, I just saw that. Made me laugh. We love you all. We're going to see you on Sunday. So, ciao. And please listen to the song. Love y'all. Bye.
She lived in Sweetwater, far from the road, weaving her stories in thread and in code. Every rug held a life, every color a prayer. Bless our home in the fiber, her hands weaving care. She was cautious and careful, she knew her own ground. 62 years of living, steady and sound. And the night swallowed her whole and her truck disappeared, and the world barely noticed just what her people feared. While the cameras chased others across every state, her family walked alone, praying it wasn't too late. Ella Mae, we say your name. Your rocks still tell your stories. Your hand still holds your flame. Ella Mae, you are not gone. You are woven in our memory. Your spirit carries on. We won't stop until you're home. No elder should be taken, no elder left alone. Ella Mae Begay, we say your name. Her family walked hundreds of miles through heat and through dust. When the law left them searching, they did what they must. Justice for Ella Mae written on every side. No more stolen sisters, no more silence this time. They took her from Sweetwater into the dark, but they couldn't take her weaving, they couldn't take her heart. A pictorial still hanging in galleries and homes, a master storyteller who deserves to come home. We are the ones who carry her name. We are the ones who refuse to look away. Ella Mae, we say your name. Your rugs still tell your stories. Your hands still hold your flame. Ella Mae. heart. Ella Mae, we say your name. Your rocks still tell your stories. Your hands still hold your flame. Ella Mae, you are not forgotten. Every thread you ever wove, every prayer you ever